What if a single night could turn your closest friends into bitter rivals and make your waking life feel like a hallucination? This is exactly what unfolds in William Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. The story begins in Athens, a city governed by strict order, where Duke Theseus is days away from marrying Hippolyta in a grand celebration. This diagram maps out the core problem beneath that celebration. Here we have Hermia and Lysander, who are deeply in love. But there is a blockage. Hermia's father, Aegeus, demands that she marry Demetrius instead. Aegeus takes this dispute straight to the Duke. In ancient Athens, the law leaves Hermia with three bleak choices: obey her father and marry Demetrius, live the rest of her life as a nun, or be put to death. Shakespeare sets up an immediate collision course. The unstoppable force of human emotion is pitted directly against the immovable object of systemic control. Hermia refuses to accept her fate. She and Lysander hatch a secret plan to sneak out of Athens, travel through the nearby forest, and marry safely outside the city's jurisdiction. But Hermia makes the mistake of sharing this plan with her friend Helena. Helena is desperately in love with Demetrius, who wants nothing to do with her. Hoping to win a small fraction of his favor, Helena betrays the secret and tells Demetrius about the escape. The chase begins. Demetrius rushes into the woods to track down Hermia, and Helena follows right behind him. The moment these four young Athenians cross the tree line, they leave the safety of civic law behind. They're stepping blind into an environment where human rules no longer apply. This forest is a completely different world. It is the domain of the fairy king Oberon and the fairy queen Titania. And right now, the royal couple is locked in a bitter, hostile argument over custody of a young boy. Oberon wants revenge. He orders his mischievous servant Puck to track down a specific rare flower in the dark woods that drips a glowing liquid. The juice of this flower parries a potent spell. If you place a few drops on the eyelids of someone who is sleeping, they will wake up and instantly fall madly in love with the very first creature they see upon waking. Oberon originally plans to use this on Titania to humiliate her, but while waiting for Puck, he overhears Demetrius cruelly rejecting Helena nearby. Feeling pity for her, Oberon gives Puck a second task: use the flower's juice on the Athenian man so he will love Helena back. Oberon thinks he is helping, but injecting unpredictable magic into an already tense human love square acts as a massive accelerant. Puck sets off to fulfill his orders, but he finds the wrong sleeping Athenian. He finds Lysander instead of Demetrius. Lysander wakes, and his bond with Hermia instantly shatters, replaced by an erratic obsession with Helena. Oberon then applies the potion to Demetrius. A second arrow targets Helena, leaving Hermia isolated. Both men now aggressively pursue Helena, who assumes it's a cruel prank.
The stress breaks their lifelong bonds. Hermia turns her rage on Helena, confused as to why her fiancé suddenly hates her, while Lysander and Demetrius retreat into the woods to duel to the death. The darkness of the woods strips away their identities and loyalties. All the structures they relied on in Athens are replaced by raw, irrational emotion. While the lovers are tearing each other apart, a separate group of amateur actors, local craftsmen from Athens, are rehearsing a play nearby. Among them is the loud, overconfident weaver named Bottom. Puck cannot resist a target like Bottom. Using his magic, he transforms the actor's head into that of a literal donkey. Bottom's friends run away in terror, and his loud, oblivious singing awakens the sleeping fairy queen, Titania. Oberon's original spell takes effect, and Titania falls desperately in love with the donkey-headed mortal. By pairing a majestic, ethereal queen with a braying farm animal, Shakespeare is making his point clear. Romantic attraction is blind, is often foolish, and completely defies logical explanation. Before the situation turns fatal for the human lovers, Oberon decides enough is enough. He orders Puck to blanket the forest in a deep fog, separate the angry fighters in the dark, and apply a cure to their eyes before the sun rises. Puck undoes the damage. He removes the spell from Lysander, returning his affections to Hermia, but Demetrius is intentionally left under the flower's influence, keeping his newfound love for Helena intact. Oberon also releases Titania from her humiliating enchantment. The fairy rulers quietly reconcile, restoring peace to their realm. Morning breaks, and the magic fades. Duke Theseus and Hippolyta ride into the forest for a morning hunt and stumble upon the 4 exhausted youths sleeping in the dirt. When we check the relationship web one last time, it shows 2 completely stable mutual pairs: Hermia with Lysander and Helena with Demetrius. As the young Athenians wake up, their memories are blurry, leaving them convinced the terrifying events of the night were just a shared, bizarre dream. Because the couples are finally balanced and no longer fighting, Duke Theseus steps in. He overrules Aegeus's harsh demands, tossing out the rigid Athenian law in favor of letting all the lovers marry. The story rewards the audience with one final layer of comedy. At the triple wedding celebration, Bottom and his fellow craftsmen perform their heavily rehearsed, spectacularly clumsy play, providing a light-hearted finish to the ordeal. But as the laughter fades, the play leaves us with lingering questions. Can intense feelings really change overnight? Are we blinded by our own desires? And how much of our perceived reality is actually just constructed by our emotions? Shakespeare's work reveals how the madness of human love can make ordinary people behave as if they are lost in a dream.